Hello. The soul is actually a mystery. We'll find out all about it when we learn the mystery of how it evolves within us when we get to Ascendington, which is one of the secret spheres of the Eternal Father around paradise. We'll love this place and spend lots of holidays there when we get to Havona. This is what a perfecter of wisdom tells us. The secrets of Ascendington include the mystery of the gradual and certain building up in the material immortal mind of a spiritual and potentially immortal counterpart of character and identity. This phenomenon constitutes one of the most perplexing mysteries of the universes, the evolution of an immortal soul within the mind of a mortal and material creature. So this even tells us where the soul resides, in the mind, if you know where that is. What we do know is that the thought adjuster is the father of the soul. The indwelling of the mystery monitor constitutes the inception and ensures the possibility of the potential of growth and survival of the immortal soul. And our mind is the mother of our soul. So let's have another definition of the soul. Soul of man is an experiential acquirement. As a mortal creature chooses to do the will of the Father in heaven, so the indwelling spirit becomes the father of a new reality in human experience. The mortal and material mind is the mother of this same emerging reality. The substance of this new reality is neither material nor spiritual. It is Urantia. This is the emerging and immortal soul, which is destined to survive mortal death and begin the paradise ascension. What do you think they mean by experiential acquirement? Here's another definition. Mortal man earns even his status as an essential candidate by his own faith and hope. Everything divine which the human mind grasps and the human soul acquires is an experiential attainment. It's a reality of personal experience and is therefore a unique possession, in contrast to the inherent goodness and righteousness of the inherent personalities of Havona. So here again they mention experiential attainment, a reality of personal experience of life on this planet. So how can we help our soul to grow in the best way? I'm sure you recognise this sculpture by Michelangelo. When Michelangelo was asked how he created a piece of sculpture, he answered that the statue already existed within the marble. God himself had created the Pieta, and Michelangelo's job was to get rid of the excess marble that surrounded God's creation. And I think that's what it's like with us. The perfect you isn't something you need to create, because God already created it. The perfect you is already within you. Your job is to remove the fearful or negative thinking that surrounds our perfect selves, just like the excess marble surrounding Michelangelo's perfect statue. Our challenge is to drop the non-essential clutter that surrounds our shining self. So this is our huge challenge in life. And this is how our soul develops, as we allow our thought adjuster and our mind in cooperation to grow our beautiful Urantia bodies, our soul that survives after death. So how can we do that? The process, of course, is an unconscious one. We can never say, oh, it's been such a good day today. My soul grew so much. It feels so much bigger and better. But we can say things like, I really learned a good life lesson today, and I'll remember that. I spoke to that difficult person today and improved our relationship. I told the truth today. I was kind and helpful today. So perhaps we should do something every day to help grow our soul. Let go and let God. Detach, stand back. Your authentic self exists way beyond the ego. If you allow yourself to live from spirit, you're bound to be growing your soul because you're connected to God and supported by him. So stop interfering. Ego stands for edge God out. The journey. The Urantia book describes the soul's journey as an eternal process, passing through various stages of growth and ultimately achieving spiritual perfection. Mortal life on Earth is considered a crucial phase in soul evolution. It's during this life that the individual faces diverse experiences, trials, challenges, providing opportunities for soul growth. Central to the concept of soul evolution is the principle of free will. The Urantia book highlights the importance of making wise choices, as these choices shape the course of the soul's development. Every time man makes a reflective moral choice, he immediately experiences a new divine invasion of his soul. Moral choosing constitutes religion as the motive of inner response to outer conditions. So, a reflective moral choice, what does that mean to you? I'd like you to think of some of the negative thoughts and feelings that you often have. Are these feelings helping to grow your soul? Of course not. They need to be replaced with the opposite. So now think of the opposite qualities of those negative feelings. Now, will these qualities help you to grow your soul? Yes, because you're more in tune with your thought adjuster, who's trying his best to fill you with those qualities, the fruits of the Spirit. Jesus told the apostles a practical method of discovering how tuned your soul is to your thought adjuster: the degree of your love for your fellow men. Jesus tells them how much the Spirit of truth will soon benefit them, and how everyone will then have the Father's indwelling presence, reassuring us that we are sons of God. If we follow the leading of this Spirit, we shall eventually know the will of God. The joy of this outpoured Spirit, when it's consciously experienced in human life, is a tonic for health, a stimulus for mind, and unfailing energy for the soul. So we also have the Spirit of truth to help us grow our soul. We have so much help if we only remember to utilize it. Universal brotherhood. As individuals progress through their soul evolution, they come to recognize the interconnectedness of all life forms. This realization fosters a sense of universal brotherhood and love for all creation. The journey of soul evolution provides profound insights into the purpose and meaning of life. It invites us to embrace personal growth, spiritual awareness, and an ever-deepening cooperation with the divine. So we're all connected because we're all the same energy. Our bodies look solid, but under a microscope and on a subatomic level, you'll see that we are just energy, the same energy that the universe consists of. And that's true from quantum physics. So we can't just grow our soul on its own. It grows in combination with the rest of ourselves. The psychic circles are not exclusively intellectual, neither are they wholly morontial. They have to do with personality status, mind attainment, soul growth, and adjuster attunement. The successful traversal of these levels demands the harmonious functioning of the entire personality, not merely some one phase thereof. The growth of the parts does not equal the true maturation of the whole. The parts really grow in proportion to the expansion of the entire self, the whole self, moral, intellectual, and spiritual. So growth is a combination of our mind, the intellect, our personality, and our connection to our thought adjuster, the spiritual. I love this definition of worship. Sincere worship connotes the mobilization of all the powers of the human personality under the dominance of the evolving soul and subject to the divine directionization of the associated thought adjuster. The mind of material limitations can never become highly conscious of the real significance of true worship. Man's realization of the reality of the worship experience is chiefly determined by the developmental status of his evolving immortal soul. The spiritual growth of the soul takes place wholly independently of the intellectual self-consciousness. So, I don't know if you'd agree with me, but I find that the most peace, love, and joy that comes to me when I'm in a state of worship. It takes practice and persistence, and it doesn't always work, but it's surely worth the effort. So the more our soul grows, the easier it is to worship. And in the second paragraph here, I love the word betrothed. Being betrothed to your thought adjuster. The worship experience consists in the sublime attempt of the betrothed adjuster to communicate to the divine side of yourself the inexpressible longings and unutterable aspirations of the human soul. So what do you think are the longings and aspirations of the soul? A growing soul. A growing soul is one that is loving, self-reflective, truth-discerning, attuned to the thought adjuster, desire to know God and be like him, committed to doing God's will, being actively inspired. So that's how the soul grows, through truth, beauty, and goodness. And this is why we need to create all these qualities in our lives. We have the power and the free will to do this. But of all these values, love is the true guide to real insight. So our mind is the great gateway to our soul. When you once begin to find God in your soul, presently you will begin to discover him in other men's souls, and eventually in all the creatures and creations of a mighty universe. But what chance does the Father have to appear as a God of supreme loyalties and divine ideals in the souls of men who give little or no time to the thoughtful contemplation of such eternal realities? While the mind is not the seat of the spiritual nature, it is indeed the gateway thereto. But the great problem of religious living consists in the task of unifying the soul powers of the personality by the dominance of love. Health, mental efficiency, and happiness arise from the unification of physical systems, mind systems, and spirit systems. Of health and sanity, man understands much, but of happiness, he has truly realized very little. The highest happiness is indissolubly linked with spiritual progress. Spiritual growth yields lasting joy, peace which passes all understanding. There is something real, something of human evolution, something additional to the mystery monitor which survives death. This newly appearing entity is your soul. And it survives the death of both your physical body and your material mind. This entity is the conjoint child of the combined life and efforts of the human you in liaison with the divine you, the adjuster. This child of human and divine parentage constitutes the surviving element of terrestrial origin. It is the Urantia self, the immortal soul. So the soul is the Urantia self. It is the you that survives eternally. How important is that? And remember, at the moment, it is still a child. And to finish this presentation, one of my favourite quotes from the book: to a God-knowing kingdom believer, what does it matter if all earthly things crash? Temporal securities are vulnerable, but spiritual sureties are impregnable. When the flood tides of human adversity, selfishness, cruelty, hate, malice, and jealousy beat about the immortal soul, you may rest in the assurance that there is one inner bastion, the citadel of the spirit, which is absolutely unassailable. At least this is true of every human being who has dedicated the keeping of his soul to the indwelling spirit of the eternal God. So, thank you very much for listening, and very best wishes for growing your soul.